So what I'm going to do is add in a shape so that we can preview some of these tools on the left hand side. So if we scroll down to our shape tool, it looks like a square. We tap on it. You'll get different options if you hold down. You'll get this pop-up. I'm just going to select a circle for now, and I'm going to create a circle. And what you'll notice is these little lines kind of appear. That's because I have magnetics on. And if you tap your finger when you're making a shape, after you've created the shape, your pen is still on the screen, and you tap your finger down, it'll create a perfect shape. So I'll keep my finger down, lift my pencil, and then lift my finger, and it'll create a perfect circle for me. So I'm going to update the color by going to our color studio on the right hand side, selecting that little icon that's right at the top. It looks like a grade circle, and you can adjust the color of your shapes. I'm just going to make it something that's easy to see. And then you have your fill, which is this big circle, and then this kind of like donut outline is your outline of your shape. So I don't want an outline, so I'm just going to turn it off. But if you did want an outline, you can just select a color, and then you can select your stroke studio here, which is right underneath your color studio, and you can increase or decrease the width of that outline. So I'm going to go back into my color studio, and then I'm going to remove that outline by going down into my quick colors and selecting the white square with the blue dash through it, and it's going to remove the outline. So let's look at a few more of these tools here. If we select this white arrow, that's our node tool. It'll allow us to adjust based on the nodes within our shape. We can also adjust the node style. So if we go up to the top, we can convert our circle to a donut, and we can also convert it to a pie shape. So if we tap on any of these, it'll adjust. If I double tap, it'll undo. Click on that and I'll change it to a donut. Select undo by double tapping. We can also add in some text if we wanted to by going to the left hand side. Right underneath that node tool is our text tool. So if we tap on it, it'll just give us our frame text tool, and you can just create a frame, and then whatever size you want that frame to be, that'll be the width that your text will be limited to. So we can also update our fonts and our sizes, so we can select Arial, we can update it to whatever you have in your file system, and then you can increase the size by selecting that little number icon, and you can increase it a bunch before you tap into your frame tool, and then your little keyboard will pop up and you can just type in. And then as you see, because our text is limited to this frame, our text disappeared. So all we have to do then is just go into our move tool, tap on it, and then you'll get these little edge nodes, and then you can just adjust the width of this to allow everything to be in. Or if you wanted to keep it that size, you can just increase how long that text box is. I'm just going to keep it this size so it's easy to see. You can also double tap your text to select everything, or drag across, tap and drag across. And then you can update the color of your text in your color studio. You can also utilize your eyedropper tool, which is that little tool right at the bottom. It's your last tool. And if you select your color picker and you tap in, say, on that circle that is that magenta, it will update the color of your text to match it. The next tool I want to utilize is our artistic text tool. So in the past, in Affinity Publisher on the desktop, the artistic text tool was kind of housed within the frame text tool, but it's its own option here. So if you select this little A, it will give you the artistic type tool. And what that does is just allows you freedom with what you are creating in terms of placement. Like, you don't get limited to the size of a frame you create. You can just add it based on kind of like eyeballing it. You can type in whatever you want, and what you'll notice is it will go on and on until you hit return or enter to create a new line. So I'm going to tap my Color Studio in so that we have some more space. So to pull your options back in, you just have to tap on the studio and it'll pull it in. So the next thing I want to look at is our table. We can add tables, which makes things so easy. You don't have to utilize the pen tool to create any type of grid work. You can just add in your own table by selecting the table tool and then just dragging with your pen tool, and it will give you a table, and you can double tap to kind of adjust the size, the width of how big things are, how wide they are, and it just makes adding kind of like trackers and things like that in digital planners so much easier. So I'm just going to pull this up and over to the side here and resize everything just so that it's here. And you can also adjust the width of the strokes of your grid here by tapping on it and then going to your stroke studio, and then you can just adjust the strokes that go down and across, or tap on the ones that go over, and you can adjust the width here too. All right, for now, I'm just going to keep it small and pull it to the side so we have more space to work. All right, now that we've looked at the grid, we can also play around with the pen tool. So it's the little icon that looks like a pen. And basically this allows you to create shapes using Bezier curves. So the easiest way to kind of explain it is you can utilize points to create the sides of your shape. And then by holding your pen down, you can adjust the curvature of that point. So I'm going to zoom in a little closer so you guys can get a better view of this. I'm going to adjust my points so that we can see it a little bit better. So I'm going to tap on one side of my screen, tap on the other, and then you'll see a line segment is created. I'm going to keep holding that down, and then I'm going to move my pen. And then I'm able to create a curve within that line segment. So this is really great for outlining artwork, if you want kind of like a vectorized feel, creating designs with logos. You can combine it with the shape tool to create different imagery. I wouldn't suggest designing logos or designing imagery within Affinity Publisher because it's more of a layout app, layout program, but you can do a lot of stuff within it. And it's nice that they have the vectorizing options by having the pen tool within it. So you can utilize it and create different shapes and designs with it. You can pull in artwork that you've sketched or you created in something like Procreate or a raster app like Affinity Photo, or even that you scanned in because you made it on regular pen and paper and you want to vectorize it. You can do it in Affinity Publisher, but I do suggest using Designer for those kinds of options because you have more capabilities within that software, but you do have access to that here. So I just wanted to make sure we could highlight it. All right, now once you've created everything, say you want everything to kind of like stay together, my suggestion is to group elements. So say this little eyeball, I want it to be one thing. All right, I'm going to add another circle inside for like the iris. And I'm going to make sure that there's a fill and not an outline. All right, so I want to keep all of these pieces together. So I would select my move tool, drag over all of the elements so that they're all selected, go into my layer studio right here on the right hand side. It's right underneath that stroke studio. It looks like a pile of papers. I'm going to tap on it, and then you'll see all of the different pieces of this element are all selected. So what I will then do is select my group option, which is this little like folded paper piece, and it'll group everything together in one folder. And if you tap down on that little drop down, you'll see all the different pieces together. But what's nice is once it's grouped, I can just select it and move everything without worrying about all of the individual pieces moving together. All right, so I'm going to move this up here. We've already looked at our shape tool. We could also add picture frame tool. So this allows you to create a frame of where you would want to place an image, and that image will fit within that frame. There's also the ellipse, so a round picture frame tool. So let's select that one. I'm going to create a round frame, and then I'm going to tap on the place image icon below. It looks like a picture, so I'm going to tap on that, and then I'm going to place an image from photos. I'm just going to pick a picture of something that I have, and then once I've selected it, it'll place it directly within that frame. We can also just place an image by itself and kind of group that image within, say, a shape. So let's create a shape by going to our shape tool. I'm going to select a heart shape. If you don't see the shapes that you're looking for, just kind of drag your pencil up, and then that way you can scroll down. So I'm going to select the heart shape. I'm going to create a heart, tap out of that heart. If that heart is still selected, just tap out of it. You'll know it's selected because it's outlined in blue. I'm going to go to my place tool, and I'm going to get this pop-up. I'm going to select place from photos. I'm going to pick that same picture, and then once I've selected it, nothing's going to happen. What you have to do is take your pencil, your Apple Pencil, and drag it across your screen, and then let go in order to actually place it. So then I'm going to move it so that it goes above that heart. And then I'm going to go into my Layers Studio here, and I'm going to take that photo that I've created and I've placed in, and I'm just going to drag it right on top of the heart in my layers so that that heart layer is highlighted in blue, and it's going to place it within that shape. So I can resize the image so that I can get more of what I want to see. But those are different ways you can place a photo, but then you can also just leave it as is by itself and resize it using that move tool. You can also crop different things using the vector crop tool. You can utilize the fill options, and this is nice because you can actually utilize, say you've made patterns. If you've taken any of my other classes, you might be interested in surface pattern design. You can fill a shape with a repeat. So what I'll do is I'll select this fill tool. I'm going to make sure I have my shape that I want to fill selected. So I'm going to fill this pink one. I'm going to tap on it. You'll know it's selected because it's outlined in blue. And then I'm going to select my fill tool. In the upper menu, you'll see all of these additional options. So right now you'll see something that says solid, but if you click on the little arrows to the left and right, you can scroll to different types of fills, like radial, conical, different types of like gradients, or you can select bitmap. And when you select bitmap, you'll get a pop-up. It gives you the opportunity to select from your already like saved files. So I'm going to go on my iPad, I'm going to go to my Affinity photo files and pull in a repeat file. So I'm going to select my Tropicali print, and it's going to fill it in here. And you may need to adjust. You'll get these two arms. So when you pull those arms in, it'll resize the print, the repeat, and it'll also adjust how it's placed in the shape. So if I zoom in, you'll see it's a perfect repeat.